Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Let's Debrief podcast. I am your host, Ashley, and hello to everybody watching on video. I'm back this week. So sorry if you can hear my dogs barking. Basically what needed to happen to be fair, the first episode that was not video was when we were in Florida and Cole didn't bring his camera. So that was like one thing. But then last week he was like, I just don't want to go to church and get it. And so I sacrificed and I went and got the camera today because I've had a few people be like, okay, when is video coming back? And I was like, I didn't realize it was in such high demand. And so I did it all for you, basically. Cass Rump. She's the one that tells me all the time. So will there be video? And I'm like, I'll make it work. So anyways, we're back on video today, and yeah, I guess post the episode of me telling you guys that Jenna wasn't going to be here anymore. This is my first solo episode. I had Cole on last week, and so this is the new wave, I guess. I don't know. I still need to update our name on our where we upload the podcast, and I need to find a new cover photo, which I just don't even know where to begin. I'm like, just a photo of myself and then say let's debrief with Ashley. I don't know. So I need to have Cole do some recon on that because he made our original cover photo, and he just whips things together so quickly. And so I know that if I'm just like, hey, can you do this? He'll do it so quickly, and probably find a photo that I never even knew existed and am in love with it, and it'll just be perfect. But we'll see. So there's a lot of to-do lists as it pertains to the podcast, where I really would love, this is also being recorded Tuesday, March 5th, so the day before you're hearing it, at 5:30 at night. So really, really a buzzer beater. But we left town on Thursday last week, and I'll talk all about that and everything. Also, this episode is kind of just going to be like a catch up. I hope to have more structure maybe going forward, but kind of like how Jen and I just would catch up every once in a while. It's kind of be a catch up episode. And then also I posted on Instagram, I wanted to hear your guys' life updates, and I posted a form and you guys wrote in, and it was completely anonymous, and I'm so excited. I skimmed some of them, but I kind of also wanted to be surprised. So I'm really excited to read those because I just kind of figured, I was like, okay, what's something I can do that's new that we haven't done before? And I'm like, they always get to hear our life updates, my life updates, but now I want to hear from them. And so there were some really short ones that were just kind of we just bought our dream house, I just got married, whatever, getting over a cold. And then there were other ones that were no, actually, I'm going through a really big change. And so I'm excited to read those. That'll be a little segment later on. But yeah, just kind of catching up. I have some thoughts that I've jotted down. I was going to say over the past few days, but honestly, it's been the past hour. I'm okay, what am I going to say in the podcast? And there's been a few things that are fresh in my mind, and a few tips and tricks I can give you guys out there. Oh, I just thought of another thing. I'm going to write that down. Okay. But yeah, like I said, we left town on Thursday and went to California for one of my oldest childhood friends got married, and it was so beautiful and so sweet. And so they had a quick engagement, and so it was kind of last minute. I think I don't even know when we got our invitation, but I think I booked the flights in February. And so I didn't plan on talking about this, but I'll talk about, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw me post, and maybe I've said it on the podcast before, I am a spirit girly through and through. So the flights to California, Cole was invited, and obviously I think he's met her once or twice, and they weren't able, their family, we're just also really good family friends with them. It's not just me and the girl that are close. Their family wasn't able to come to my wedding, and so I was I really think that we should go, and we support her, and everything. I think it would really be really beautiful and fun to see people that like I grew up with and everything. And he was like, that's understandable. Like we were just in Florida, like, well, at that point we were planning. And so he's like, we would have just been in Florida. Like it might be a quick turnaround. And I was like, that's fair. Like you can stay here, like if you want, and like we can save money. And like, since you won't know people. And he was like, no. He was like, I don't want to be away from you. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fair. I don't want you to stay. But if we needed to like kind of save on the extra ticket. And so there is a Spirit flight for those who need to know. Sorry that you can hear Dylan barking. There is a Spirit flight that flies from Pittsburgh to LAX direct. Now, flying into LAX is my least favorite thing on the planet to do. When I moved to Pennsylvania and I needed to fly home, the cheapest flights are always into LAX. And my parents lived like 45 minutes on a good day away from LAX. Excuse me. And you're 16, like 17. So like, you just like, these things don't register to you. But you're just like, I'm paying to get there. I'm not going to fly into a smaller airport and have it be more expensive, even though there was an airport literally like 10 minutes away from them. And it was always like $200 more expensive. So I was like, sorry. But I think there was one time that they paid the difference because they're like, we don't want to go to LAX. And I was like, I don't understand. What's the big deal? I do be understanding the big deal. It is a nightmare. It is so hard to get out of, whether you're getting picked up. To be fair, when I picked my parents up, I feel like we got lucky. But to get out of and to to pick up a rental car. So we ended up doing Turo again. I don't know if I said that on like the Christmas episodes. Like when we went there for Christmas, we did Turo. And we flew into John Wayne, which is in Orange County. And it's much smaller. And our car was there waiting for us, like in the parking area. It was beautiful. This time, okay, well, I'll just get into all of this actually. So Pittsburgh to LAX, it's supposed to be 5.5 hours on the way there. It was like 4.5. It was so, oh, sorry, my S's like really sparked it there. It was so fast. The quickest amount of time I've ever gotten to California in my life. I always am like refreshing like the like page that will show you like how long till your destination. And it was saying like we were supposed to land at 10, wait, let me think about this. I think we were supposed to land at like 10 p.m. California time, maybe even 10:30 California time. And then as we were like, the pilot was like, okay, we're making our descent into LAX, like flight attendants prepare for arrival. I was like, what? It's 9:30. And so we were literally like on the ground by 9:40. And it was just very confusing. But I'm thinking now it was my saving grace because a lot of things happened after we landed. And if it had been any later, it just would have been more inconvenient. So we rented from Turo, and this was my second time doing it. This is kind of on my life updates as well. Changing your last name is the most excruciating process I've ever been through. In this day and age, I feel like it is. And, okay, there's a few qualifications if it's going to be super difficult. If you are over the age of 24 and if you have memberships, established places, if you have lived by yourself and have had to be like super independent, if you've bought a car, which, oh gosh, I think the car is in Eckberg. There are just so many things that just make this process so complicated. And this was one of them. So I've officially changed it. I changed it like in November, I think. Yeah, because my license was expiring. So I did the whole social security card. So now my social security card, my license, and then my bank account have been changed. My passport hasn't been changed yet because I have another flight in May that says Eckberg. And so it's my only identification that still says Eckberg. I might call the airline and ask to change it. You don't need to know that detail. But there's just been random things here and there that are like, oops, doesn't match. Oops, like incorrect. And this was one of them. So when you rent from Turo, they're like, you have to upload a photo of your ID every time. Like, not just like a one-time deal. Like, okay, it's saved to your account. Every time you have to. So I have my updated ID. And then you have to do a picture of you holding it, like, up to your face, too. And so I had done that earlier in the day on Thursday, and we left on Thursday night, evening. And then we land. I turn like my airplane mode off, and I had gotten a notification from the person I was renting from, and it was like a company. Like sometimes I feel like car dealerships will like put their cars on Turo or something, so that he had a fleet. Like it wasn't just like a person, like, which maybe the last time that was like a guy I rented from. Anyways, they're like, hey, your photo is blurry. Also, the name on your ID doesn't match your account, so you're going to have to contact Turo support to get that changed. And I'm just like sitting on the plane like, oh my gosh, like, so do I not have a car to go to right now? And I just like, they were like, just get it resolved with them. Like, there's actually like nothing that we can do for you. And like, they were really nice, but they were just like, you just have to contact support. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then in this process also, I've had to change it with so many different airlines because like I can't make a reservation under my account with the name Zimmerman because they're like, this account number belongs to Ekberg. And so I've had to go through a lot of different chat bots recently. And Turo was the same way, not a person whatsoever. Like the chat bot was getting me nowhere. So I finally call support. I get in touch with the person, and we're like, I'm just like kind of pacing around LAX, and I'm just like, oh, this sucks. And long story short, the girl got me like, was like, okay, I'm going to email you the link. This is just so weird. The link to a real person that will chat with you to change your account. And I was like, okay, whatever. That sounds good. And so then that happened. And very quickly they were like, okay, your account's been changed. And I was like, okay, cool. This ordeal, since it like started on the plane, maybe like start to finish, was like 30 minutes. So it's like, okay, it's not that inconvenient. But to get to the car, so then I messaged the people back, and I was like, hey, I got it updated. Like, can you, and they have to approve my ID. I was like, can you approve my ID? And they're like, yep, you're good. Like, your guy is like there waiting for you with the car. But apparently at LAX, which like this wasn't the same with John Wayne, they have to like give it to you off like LAX property. So I had to take a rental car shuttle to like to the rental car place, but the car was parked across the street from the rental car place. I understand how shady this sounds, but also just know that this like company was like on Turo was rated like over 2,000 times at like 4.9 stars. So I was like, okay, I feel comfortable. Like they're not going to screw me over, or I'm not going to get kidnapped. Like they're very reputable. But there's just one rental car company that has like one, and my family rented from them a couple years ago and had to take the shuttle like from LAX, and I swear they have one or two shuttles. And so we happened to miss it, I guess, and we had to like stand there on the curb at LAX for 30 minutes before we got on the shuttle. And oh, also during this whole time, I am having one of the worst headaches of my life. Like, and it's like not at the temples or like the front of my head, it was at the base like of my neck. It was so awful. So like being outside and like as buses would go by, like the exhaust like that would like let out was so loud, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I posted on my close friend story, I am God's bravest soldier. Like in the grand scheme, like the entire time I was just like, thank God we don't have kids. Thank God we don't have kids. Like this would be a nightmare. So like I'm very aware it could have been way worse. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. It was just like, okay, like I think by the time we got where we were going, it was like maybe not even that much, an hour and a half ordeal to get out of LAX. And so it was quite the adventure. But yeah, long story short, we got on the shuttle, and then they dropped us off, met this guy, and he was just like, okay, here you go. And I was like, okay. And so got the car, we were all good, whatever. And luckily Cole's aunt lives literally like I think she lives like 3 miles away from LAX. It's like a 10-minute drive. So we went and crashed with her. It's not like we were, if you know California, like it's not like we were driving to Riverside, which is like where I grew up, and is like an hour drive. So yeah, that all worked out, but just a fun little story. And if you are getting married soon, Godspeed. And honestly, Like, having Cole's last name is, like, very important to me. Like, I never, like, didn't think I was going to do that. I just kind of delayed a year because I was like, oh, like, I'll get around to it. And then I was like, okay, I should actually get around to it. And which, like, my friend Shayla said that she dedicated a day of, like, just going and changing everything. And that's just what I suggest. Or put on your registry, like, those, like, name change boxes. I don't know how much those actually help, because I think they just send you the paperwork, but maybe they tell you, like, you should go change with all of these people, because it has just been a surprise at every turn. And also, this happened today on, like, the name change front. Obviously, you know, I'm not going to talk about it very much, so don't everybody freak out. Obviously, we're credit card girlies around here. So I have a Chase credit card, and when you have this specific Chase card, maybe I've talked about it, Ed and I have talked about it, like, Chase points can be transferred out to different people and, like, different companies and everything. For our hotel in London, I was going to transfer it to Hyatt because they have, like, a great hotel that we're going to take advantage of. And so I needed to transfer my points from Chase into Hyatt. But guess what? My Hyatt account is Zimmerman, and this specific credit card, my checking account is Zimmerman, but this card is Ekberg. And so I went to Chase today, and I was like, I took my marriage license and, like, all of my documentation of everything. And when I changed my bank account with them, they were, like, super cool. And then, so I was like, I have a bunch of credit cards with you guys. I just want to get all of that changed over. And her face just turned, and she was just like, we can't do credit cards in person. Like, they make you call. And then, like, they will send you a packet in the mail, and you have to fill that out. And then she was like, you can send it back, like, with your marriage license, or you can bring it in to us and we'll fax it for you. And I was like, what decade are we in? What is happening? Like, sorry, I might be a little loud. How is this happening in the year 2024? Fax? I haven't heard of faxing anything in I don't know how long. And so, and, like, that's, like, one thing, and I have to do that, but there's more, like, pressure on it because Hyatt has also announced last week that they're increasing their redemptions for certain hotels and stuff. I don't know if my hotel's on the list. I'm assuming all of them are getting raised by a few points. So I need to do it before the end of March, or else that hotel will cost more in points. So that's where we're at. It is something. It is, I don't know. If anybody else, if I'm being dramatic, like, let me know. But if it was as stressful for you as it has been for me, I feel like I'm literally signed up for every single program under the sun. And every time they're like, oh, actually, just kidding. That says Ekberg. So one of these days, everything will say Zimmerman. Don't know when that day is, but hopefully it's coming around soon. Okay, what else on my list? Okay. Oh, I guess the rest of California. The rest of California was great. We picked my parents up. So it was just me, Cole, and we basically had, like, a weekend with my parents, which was really fun. Like, I've always been close with my parents, and then the dynamic since getting married and, like, hanging out with them is really fun. And so we just enjoy spending time with them. And we basically had a weekend with them, and then we stayed with my grandparents. And so, yeah, it was like a little generational couples weekend. Like, my grandparents, my parents, and me. But it was awesome. And not much to report else. Like, we left Sunday night, California time. Our flight was, like, at 10. And it's only, like, a 4.5 hour flight coming back. And it only took, like, 4 hours. And so it was overnight and, like, when we got to Pittsburgh, it was 5 a.m. And yesterday was spooky. I literally didn't sleep, like, at all on the flight. So when we landed, I was like, okay, like, I'm feeling good. And, like, we went and got Chick-fil-A breakfast. And then excuse me. We got to the car, and as we were driving home, I was like, oh, I'm getting real sleepy. And so we got home about, we got home about 7, took showers because we both felt disgusting. and then got into bed and crashed only for like a few hours because I'm such a good employee. And I was like, I will be jumping. I was hopeful I would go in person to, like, we have a Monday meeting. And it's really fun, like, being together with everyone, and, like, it's a fun collaborative, like, space. But let me tell you, when it was at 10:30 and when that 9:45 alarm went off, I was like, you could not pay me to get out of this bed. But it's virtual as well. So watched that virtually and then kind of just, like, worked the rest of the day, took naps in between, and we're slowly recovering today. Let me take a sip of water real quick. Did you like that slurp? But yeah, I think that was everything. So anyways, like I said, I'm a Spirit girly, and if you do it, just backpacking, don't pay for your seat or anything. Our flights is further that were like $250 altogether, not even per person, altogether. Every other flight was like $600 altogether. So Cole said it was the worst flight ever just because he's a tall guy and there's not a lot of leg room, which is definitely fair. I just can't relate. And so, yeah, Spirit flies direct to LAX. That's the conclusion. And if you want to go to California, it's a great option and a great route. Okay. Oh my gosh, so many orders of business to get to. What to do first? Okay, this is a little welcome into money corner, okay? So obviously I talk to you guys about credit cards a lot these days. I'm not going to talk about credit cards this time, but I was just thinking about this today because I went and checked on mine. I don't know if you all know this, but the year is 2024, and if you, this really sounds like I'm reading an ad. If you still have your money in a regular savings account, you are wasting your time and your money, genuinely. We all should be having, listen, everybody. We are going to be smart with our money this year. Like we said, we talk about it through credit cards. We're going to be responsible and use our money well and make our money work for us. This literally sounds like an ad. But if you do not have a high yield savings account, it's time to start one. And we got ours, I think it's almost been a year actually. My TikTok is very curated for things that are very intriguing to me. So I kind of, like, at some point last year found myself on finance TikTok. Maybe it was like during credit card exploration, and then they're like, this is like how you should be smart with your money. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. Get a high yield savings account. I can post the link for the one that we have. It's great, but you can pick whatever one. I don't, like, I think I get like a boost if like a few people like sign up, but this is not the root of me like talking about it. Just because I think, let me pull it up real quick. In like the year of having it, basically, also, if you don't know what it is, a high yield savings account is like, usually if you have a regular savings account, you're getting like 0.1% of your like of interest growing on like the money in there. So I remember like literally I've had like my Chase savings account for forever, and I remember like when I was younger I had like a few $100s in there or something, and it was like, you like made 1 cent this month, and I was like, awesome, cool, like okay. And I just didn't know what a high yield savings account was. But basically, instead of it being 0.1%, it's like 5%. So your money just sits in there, and it's like just a regular savings account, but instead it's just growing, and it's just free money. Again, we're going to be smart this year. So let's see. I don't know if I can see when I started, but I'll just tell you guys, I'm pretty sure like April-ish, March or April will be a year. And on the first of every month, it will pay you an interest. Cole and I have made a little over $400 from just having our money sit there. And then obviously I think around like right now, if you want to do the math, I guess you could, but like we get like on average like $40 a month that gets deposited in there. Obviously if we add more money, like we're going to get more interest. But, what was I going to, so like once that $42 is in there, the next month it will also pay you on the $42 that it put in there. and it's just growing on top of each other. So get a high yield savings account. I'll post our link if you want to use ours. I think it's very user friendly. If you are, I will say, if you are someone who cuts it close on like your checking account and like are gonna run a few $100 short like every month or so, it's not a quick transfer back process, but we're going to be using credit cards and we're going to plan ahead. And if we need a little extra cushion because we went a little crazy, you'll have some time to plan, but nothing's going to be coming out of your checking account. Okay. Oh, so sorry. I hit the mic. That's all on Finance Corner for this week. Okay. Let's talk about some things I've been making or some things that have intrigued me. Intrigue for Kefir. Kefir. I feel like everyone says it differently. I'm going to say Kefir, and you can correct me if I'm genuinely wrong, which is totally fine. So I feel like I'm pretty sure everyone that listens like knows I like to home make stuff, and I like health and just very interested in like very natural things. And now I've become very like deeply obsessed with like just making stuff from scratch. I told you guys about that girl on TikTok that I love. I hope some of you guys followed her. Anyways, just been very inspired to make as much as I can from scratch. And we have I actually don't know if I've ever talked about them before. I've definitely like talked to some people on Instagram about it. We have here, I guess in Pennsylvania in general, because these people are based out of like Chambersburg, but they deliver out here. It's called the Family Cow or Your Friendly Farmer. I'm pretty sure like the company name is like Family Cow, but then like their URL is something different. Both names will get you there. But they do weekly drops like in our area, and so like Cole and I live, I don't know if I've actually ever said it before, maybe I don't feel comfortable, but there's a Swissville drop, and there is a Pittsburgh Mills drop, and like Swissville's on Thursday, Pittsburgh Mills is on Friday, so like those are relatively close to us. You can order off of their website, and then they bring this massive truck, not massive but this big box truck, and deliver all of the food, and it's great. It's all like, it's literally like from a farm, and so it's like farm fresh and grass finished and grass raised beef, and they sell raw milk and raw cream, and like it's great if you're into holistic and just like, I don't know, like raw stuff in general. It's a great like company like and family to buy from. Like they are massive, like, but I'm pretty sure it was like, I need to read up on them, but like they started this whole thing and it's just really grown. And so they sell Kefir grains, which is basically what Kefir is. It's like kind of like kombucha, like where it's just like a fermented drink. There are water grains from what I've understood, and like milk grains. The milk is the most popular, or like the most, I guess, most popular. And all you do is pour some milk over the grains. You can set it on the counter for 12 days. Oh, no. So sorry. Don't do that. I guess you could technically do it for however long as you want. But sitting it on the counter at room temp for 12 hours will ferment it to be healthy for your gut and like create like a healthy bacteria. Kind of like, it's in the same realm, like I said, as kombucha, as sourdough. It's like those types of bacterias and stuff. We got it on Thursday, like right before I bought grains from them, which again, like this also leads me into another point. I didn't know how much I could rant when it was just me. Let me take a sip of water before I go into this. This just proves like how cost effective like making stuff yourself is. I am pretty sure, especially like just places like Whole Foods, I am pretty sure I've seen like a bottle, maybe an 12-ounce bottle of Kefir, maybe bigger, like at Whole Foods, like for like $10 to $12, something like that. Well, oh gosh, there is a child screaming outside. It's really nice today, and so a lot of kids are like outside hanging out. But I got like it's like a pint, I think, of the Kefir grains, and it was $11. And once you have the grains, you can make as much Kefir as you want. Like, they constantly, like, you can just keep using them. So basically what happens is you pour milk over the grains. So sorry for my dogs. They're upset that children are outside. You pour the milk over the grains, and then since we were leaving town, you can put it in the fridge and it will ferment the same way as it would if it was left on the counter, but it's just slower. So by the time we got back, it was ready to go. And so, actually right before this, I strained it and like so then all you do is like strain it, take out the grains, and by grains, it literally looks like just like cheese curds, basically. Separate the grains and then put them in a jar, and then you just start over again. So I just poured more milk over the grains and put that back in, and you just put like a little cloth over it and like tie it. I'll actually maybe post a picture of it because Cole and I keep saying it looks like a VeggieTales character, like Mordecai, if you know, like from VeggieTales, because it's just like a cloth with like a hair tie like around the rim, and it just looks really funny. Anyways, so very simple. And now you spent $11 one time. Obviously you're using milk, like hopefully that maybe you already have every time, and you have this really healthy and gut friendly drink on hand. So like a lot of people will like fully make like a full like smoothie with it. Sometimes they'll like, I've been adding, like I tried Kefir first before I bought the grains to make sure I was like, okay, like, well, I actually like this. And so I've been adding the leftovers of that into a smoothie. So it's kind of like spread out, because I don't know how I would feel about it like all at one time. And it tastes like milk. Like it tastes pretty similar and stuff. So that's one thing. And then lately literally last week, I think it was like the day that we were leaving, I became very interested in this whole beef tallow craze. Okay. So basically what I was actually like wanting to not even do research on, but was like, okay, how much does it actually cost to make like a whipped tallow? Because everybody and their mother is out here mainly like, actually not even mainly, like everyone is charging an arm and a leg for this stuff. And like it's available at like the farm, like I said, the family farmer, and I'm pretty sure it's $30. And I am okay with spending like decent amount of money on like food and health stuff, because we don't like, honestly, food and travel, that's what is our biggest priorities. And so I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine. But when I saw that and it is like in this tiny tin, I was like, absolutely not, I cannot justify that. But how much does it cost to make it yourself? I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast too, but I also made my own bone broth. That was also like kind of looped in with all of this. I bought like bones from the farmer shop and made my own bone broth, and I just like the process of everything too. It just like is nice, like knowing that you put in the effort, you care about it more. I went on like, I was gonna say this whole rant, but I posted something like that on my Instagram where it's like, it just feels really nice and to like make something with your hands, and then like when you're going to use that like later on, like because I put a bunch of broth in the freezer, when I'm going to use that, I'm like, oh, I worked hard for this. Oh, this was a product of my efforts. And so it just makes me feel better. So anyways, everyone's out here charging $30 for tallow. So I was like, what does this actually cost to make? Of course, I got on TikTok, the holy grail search engine, and everyone was like, you can just like ask a butcher for like the leftover fat. So sorry to all of my vegetarians and vegans out there. I'll make it brief. And I was like, okay. So I messaged to butchers, because also like the farm like sells a lot of things, but that like they sell their own tallow. They don't sell the fat. And so I was like, they're trying to gatekeep a little bit. Also, so tallow can be turned into like a lotion and like balm or whatever, but then you can also use it as like a cooking oil too. And I forget how much it is on the farm, but I have seen a 16-ounce jar, not actually, maybe even smaller, 12 ounces maybe, jar at Whole Foods. And okay, I'll call them out. The Epic brand, and it says beef tallow, and it's literally like $16. And I'm like, again, what's with it? Why is it so expensive? So I was like, how can I make this myself? So I wanted to make like a lotion, and I wanted to have like the fat for cooking as well. And it's just both things like just have like very, I was gonna say healthy. I don't know if healthy is like the word for it, but good vitamins to put back into your diet and put back on your skin. Again, Jenna and I have talked about your skin's the biggest organ, and we're just trying to replenish her. Anyways, all of this to say, I reached out to 2 butchers on Instagram that are in Pittsburgh, and one of them, if I was gonna name drop them, I feel like it's fine. It's called Fat Butcher, just what it's called, and they're in Lawrenceville. Both of them responded to me, which I was like, wow, thank you so much. I actually never thought they would respond, and I was just like, do you guys have leftover fat? And the Fat Butcher was like, we have the rendered tallow already in our fridges for, drumroll please, for 16 ounces, $4. $4 freaking dollars. Also, what the rendered tallow is, like, the process of making the tallow is like, you have to heat it up and then put salt and water in it, and that like removes the impurities and like the smell from it, and that's like a process that can like take like 3 to 4 times to fully render it. And basically, and like, again, I'm still interested in doing that process because I just want to learn, and I'm intrigued by that, and it would be cool to say I made it myself. But this place had it already for $4, so I paid myself a little visit today and got a total of 32 ounces for $8. And so like it's already to make, like, ready to be used, like cooking oil already, but for like making it into like a whipped product, I would have like, I'm gonna let it like get softer. I need to look up TikToks of like actually how to do it, but basically add like another oil that's going to be like nourishing for the skin and like an essential oil, and then just put it in my KitchenAid and whip it up, and it will become like the mixed texture. So super excited about that. But anyways, if you are interested in doing like stuff yourself, and like, again, I don't have kids yet, and honestly that's why I'm so motivated to do these things now, because when I eventually do have kids, I want to like be like, oh, I can whip up cinnamon rolls. I know that like the recipe in the back of my head. Oh, like we don't need what's it called, like diaper rash cream, because I have my homemade tallow. Like, very crunchy in some ways, and trust me, I am a girl that loves paying for convenience at times too. But in these scenarios of the kefir and the tallow and like sourdough bread, all of these things like take time, I'm aware, but you're saving so much money in the long run. And the same goes for bone broth. Like, I feel like companies are out here charging like $10 for 12 ounces, and you can get soup bones for like 15, maybe not even, I forget. But anyways, we are like, I guess that kind of ties into like the high yield savings account. We're being smart with our money this year. So there is my rant there. Please, please, please DM me with any questions if you're like, wait, tell me more about the kefir. I don't feel like you touched on it enough. What sourdough recipe do you like to follow? I would love to answer anybody's questions. This stuff is genuinely a hobby and a passion of mine at this point. And so, oh, another one? Well, yeah, whatever. Vanilla extract you can also make yourself. Did you know it's made of alcohol? I did not know that. I don't know if I've said that on an episode yet. It's just vanilla beans and then like an alcohol of your choice. Let it sit for a year, shake it once a week, and you got vanilla extract. You can make as much as you want. Oh gosh, I got outbid for a jar. Did it end already? Oh my gosh, that keeps happening to me. Okay. Moving on. Okay. This will be my last like life update, like rant thing before I get into your life updates, and then I'll wrap us up for today. My deepest, newest obsession. I'm so glad you asked. Also someone that's been around for decades at this point. As of a couple days ago, I am a Lady Gaga stan. What is her like crew called? Little Monsters, I think. I am a little monster. I love her. I've always like liked her. I haven't had any beef with her. I feel like I I'm 25. I was born in 98. I don't know if this like resonates. I feel like she was really like pivotal for like our, oh great, did I just get outbid for something else? Yes, I did. All right. Well, I'll just wait till next time. I feel like she was really like a pivotal artist for our generation. I remember like being, okay, I'm trying to do the math. Being in like 5th or 6th grade, being in my pool and like listening to one of her albums, and I was like, I think it's called The Fame, and I was like, let's have some fun, this beat is sick. And that's not a song a like 5th grader should be singing. But and then like when Just Dance came out, like there are just so many things. Also, I loved watching Glee as a high schooler, and so when they did a Gaga week and their performance, okay, also I think Bad Romance is one of the best songs of all time. I think it is so good and I'm obsessed with it and I play it all the time now, but I just love it. But when Glee did Bad Romance, I was like, I'm forever changed. Like I can still see the image of Santana pounding the floor. Like she's just like, oh, would you love it? It's so good. So that's the latest update. I'm obsessed with Lady Gaga. I just think that like I was shuffling like on my way here. I was shuffling just like her as an artist, and I just had no idea the amount of like great songs that she has. And I feel like this could go either way. Oh, Love Game, that's what that song was. Yeah, it was The Fame. I feel like everyone would be like, yeah, we know, like she's incredible, or they'll be like, oh, I haven't heard of Lady Gaga in a while. But okay, yeah, The Fame is, oh my gosh, okay, it's like an hour long album. Just Dance, Love Game, Paparazzi, Poker Face. I honestly don't know a lot of the other ones on here. What other ones do I love by her? She did that song for Top Gun that was so good. Hold My Hand. Her in, what is it called? Oh, A Star Is Born. Loved her in that, and then her music from that is so good. Like I said, Bad Romance is probably one of my favorite songs right now, and definitely is probably my favorite Lady Gaga song. Okay, The Fame, oh, Monster. Alejandro, Telephone, like there's just so many. So if you haven't recently, go listen to Lady Gaga. I will be listening to her for a while. I just think she's great, and I'm obsessed with her right now. I never saw this coming for me. I honestly don't get outside of the box of music. I listen to Taylor Swift, Noah Kahan, and that's honestly Noah Kahan and oh my gosh, what's the guy? Oh, Cole's gonna be so upset with me. He did the collab song. Oh, Zach Bryan. Thank God. Okay. I was like, what's his name? Zach Bryan and Noah Kahan are honestly Cole influenced, but I'm like, oh yeah, these guys are great, and I enjoy their music. Oh, I have to cough again. But honestly, outside of that, I just listen to a lot of podcasts and just don't really find artists that I like a ton, like all the time. So to stumble upon one that there's a lot of memories and history there, like just when a song plays, I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember this playing at like my like junior high dance. It's just really fun. Okay, we're at 45 minutes. I am starving, and so I have to wrap this up soon to make dinner. And this is just a fun little life thing in real time. Peter is coming over, and we're going to watch Dune, the first Dune, and then to prep us to go to a movie. And later, maybe like this week or something, to see the second Dune, which I've heard incredible things about. I keep getting this tickle in the back of my throat, and I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, now we're going to get into your life updates. I have 12 of them, so I'm going to kind of make it quick just so we can get through all of them and everyone can hear what's going on in your guys' life. So I'm so excited. Okay, first one says, hubby and I are moving into our first house this summer. Been married for a year, love our jobs, love our dog, living the dream. That is so exciting. Cole and I, like, I think everybody knows, we live in a house that my parents own, and we love looking on Zillow. We love looking on Zillow all the time. And so like it's just really fun to like dream and like and we love this house. It's not like we're rushing out. We're just like, oh, okay, like I mean, this is my parents' house and like one day like maybe they'll want to come back. I don't know. But it's like not the biggest, and there are just like some things that we're like, like we're not going to stay here forever. And so as we like think about like where we want to end up and everything and what we want it to look like, it's just so fun. And obviously we're just shopping with fictional money, and so it's fun right now, but to actually like have the money and be like, yes, we would like to purchase this house has to be exhilarating. So I'm so excited for you. That is so much fun. All right. Dylan also congratulates you. Okay, so this person says, I recently stumbled upon this girl on Instagram, and and she put her username in it, at Tiffany McGee. Tiffany with 2 Y's at the end, yeah, and then McGee. And she makes this thing called a Tiffany plate, which is a random assortment of foods like cottage cheese, mustard, pickled foods, veggies, chicken sausage, and cheese, for example. And that's her meal. She dips basically everything in the cottage cheese and mustard. I don't eat it for a meal, but the life update is that I crave pickles dipped in mustard and cottage cheese all the time recently because of this Tiffany plate. Riveting life update, I know. I mean, you could have just updated somebody else's life in writing that in. That actually, okay, so I don't dip things in cottage cheese. I've actually never just like had straight cottage cheese. I just mix it in with my eggs because it makes them taste really nice. And I think Jen and I have talked about this before. And I'm trying to up my protein, okay? And it's a great source of protein. Like, I get one from the farm, and so it's like raw cheese. But like the ones at the store, do you know how much protein is in cottage cheese? It's like a half a cup is the serving, and it's like something crazy, like 19 grams or something. I'll have to double check. So yeah, eat more cottage cheese. Honestly, dipping pickled foods in the mustard sounds so good. And chicken sausage, I'm here for this. Might have to try this. Next one says, I got my driver's license finally at 25. Which, girly, were you just taking the bus? How are you getting places? But congrats to you. And my real estate license. So it's a really big week for her or him. That is amazing. That a lot of licenses flying around for you this week. Okay. Learning to balance mom life, work life, and wife life. And also debating throwing a third baby into the mix. Okay. My parents of multiples out there. What was harder? You can DM me if you want. Or just like respond to me. As I'm saying this, what is harder? 0 to 1? Or 1 to 2? And do they all just kind of, oh, my nose itches. Do they all just kind of like blend together after 3? Where it's like we're already outnumbered. What's 1 more? What's 3 more? What are the vibes? I'd love to know. Debating throwing a third baby into the mix. That is very, very exciting. Love that for you. Okay. On the kid front, my husband and I are taking an info session on foster care and adoptions after going through infertility for the past 3 years. That is amazing. Let me rephrase, but you guys know what I mean. That is amazing because I think it takes such a noble and it's a very selfless, I feel like, act to open yourself up to fostering and adopting. And honestly, after like witnessing it through different people, it is not easy to be so willing to open up your home to a child that is not yours. And then I can't even after 3 years of struggling for your own kids and everything, to then be like, okay, like we're going to open up our home to love somebody else's child and make them ours. I just think is very noble, and I am praying for you, and I'm praying for like a smooth process because I know it can be like a really long process, and I just think that's incredible. I think you're incredible, and that's amazing. I have the flu. No fun. I can't tell you the last time I got the flu, and I am so sorry. I just sickness of any kind. It is awful. And if you tell me who you are, I'll send you some bone broth, even though I think you wrote this in like a week ago. But I'm sorry. It's so funny, like, it feels so generic. Like, obviously people are like, I just asked for like short life updates, and I'm like, oh, flu, wah, wah, sorry. Like, I don't know, like, maybe I'll get better at like running through them. Someone says, this is super exciting. I'm eloping at the courthouse in May, wedding to follow in a few years. Just felt more us and so much less stress. I love that for you. I can't imagine, like, as someone who did have like a wedding, I can't imagine just leaving the courthouse and it's like, okay, we're married. It's done. So like, are you planning like a huge wedding? I should do like a response. I should post like a form that's like, if I talked about your life update and had questions, just write in here. Oh, whoops, I read another one down. But yeah, that's very exciting that to just get married in general. Being married is the best, and it's the best thing that you'll ever do with your life, probably before becoming a parent. I am not one, so, but that's awesome. I got my dream traveling nursing assignment. Okay, I have heard traveling nurses make bank and you get to be in a different place. I don't know how often you're changing, but that sounds incredible, and I'm so excited for you. And if I know you and if you're comfortable telling me, tell me where you get to go. What's the dream? Do you have to stay just in the US? I'm assuming maybe. I don't know, but let me know. Someone wrote in and said, not a life update, but would love all of the Disney World and Disneyland tips, or would love all things Disney, Disney World, Disneyland pod episode with your mom. So I was thinking of having, like, I promised my mom like last time, and then we just never got around to recording while we were in Florida. But she is coming up here at the end of the month because my sister is graduating college in April. And so like the Easter is early this year. And so they just like always coming for like Easter and Christmas because we work for church and they like to see the service and everything. And so they'll be here at the end of the month. Maybe I'll slot that for the end of the month. I don't know if everybody would enjoy it. Maybe I'll get my lowest ratings ever on that. But we can definitely lay out all things Disney one day. I mean, I know she would love it. I would love it. And she's probably listening to this episode right now and she's like, oh, that sounds like so much fun. I would love that. She'll probably already start her list. So if everybody wants that, we'll do an episode like that. That would be really fun. Okay. Okay, well, I know who this next person is. She said, moved to Idaho, got a job at a counseling office, applied for college to finish my bachelor's in theology. I start in the fall. Going to a conference this weekend going to a conference this weekend to pray about stepping into part-time ministry. Always and forever missing my Amplify family. Love you, Ashley. And then she says, P.S. please have Ed on another episode for literally anything. There are a few people that I know I could bring on, and like I just think they'd be hilarious to read like anything. And so like I want to do like, what if I did a breakup episode reading stories with Ed, some travel nightmares episode with Peter. And so I'll bring Ed back around. He's just a little bit busier these days. He's like got like a church to run, but like yes. And I know who this is, and I don't think she would mind me saying I love you, Tyra, and I hope Idaho is incredible, and I'm so excited that you're going to finish your degree. That's incredible. And she posted a video of snow today too. I don't envy you. It was like 70 degrees here today, but love you. You can come back anytime and stay with the Zimmermans. Okay. Next one says, I just had a review at work and got a raise. So extremely happy for all of the hard work I put in to prove myself that has finally paid off. Literally. I'm also applying to nursing school soon. I love these like life updates. This is so exciting. Congratulations. Okay, now what you're going to do with that raise is you're going to put it in a high yield savings account and let your money grow for you. And all of that to say, like, that's incredible. That's so exciting. I'm so happy, like, that the first time we're doing this, there are so many positive ones, but also if there are some negative ones, like if you're going through a rough patch, I'm here to support you and show you some love. But that's incredible. I'm sure whoever you are, you're going to make an incredible nurse, and that's super exciting. Okay, last one. And this, I just mentioned this. Thrilled for the turn of the weather to get my first garden going. That is something. Okay, so as we're talking about like DIYing things and me being a little making things from scratch homemaker, I have attempted a very small minimal garden 2 years in a row now. And I think I'm finally in the place where I can do a mini one this year and actually take care of it. What usually happens is we're gone a lot over the summer. And honestly, this summer I don't think it will be gone that much because we're gone a lot of May. And then we have weddings in June, July. July will be interesting. We just don't have anything scheduled. Nothing in August. And then September is our big Europe trip. And so we're trying to stay home and save money for Europe so we can go crazy. But what was I going to say? Gardening. Yeah, that's usually what happens is like I start it and then we'll go on a few trips. I'll forget about it and I'm just like, meh. I saw produce of like strawberries, I think last year. So I might attempt. I got, my girl Tori of Make It Slow. You should look them up on Instagram and just support them in general. But they have a flower garden, and then she was telling me the other day, I think they were going to start growing like veggies or something. Like she's always like done herbs and everything. So I need to reach out to her. She's my master gardener and just farmer in general, and ask her where to even get started. But tell me what you're, the person that wrote this in, tell me what you're planting. Maybe I'll take some inspiration from you. I feel much more motivated like this time around and just where I'm at in life in general of making stuff. So I'm like, I know like now I would take the time to go outside and water it and not just wait for rain and all of that different stuff. So I'm feeling better. I'm ready to explore a garden as well. And I think that's all I have to say. This episode will promptly be up in less than 6 hours. So this is a real-time episode. But yeah, I think that's all I got. I am hungry. I'm going to make dinner. Also tonight, I got a KitchenAid ice cream bowl, to attach to our KitchenAid. And it turns it like for you. So like obviously you pour all the ingredients in and then it will just like slow turn it for you. So I'm also going to attempt that tonight. Very excited about that. That kind of came out of random, but like who cares? All that to say, I love you guys. Thank you so much. Again, every week since obviously Jenna's not, I mean, it's been 2 weeks, but like since Jenna's not being here, any like time like I record an episode, it feels weird, but then like seeing you guys like interact with stuff still and like DM me, it makes me feel good. Like obviously it's like a change, and I understand like if a lot of people came in from Jenna and and all of you that are listening to the sound of my voice now and have stuck around, I love you very much, and I'm so like thankful, and I enjoy doing this even if I am very late to it most of the time. But yeah, let me know what kind of episodes you want to see in like the upcoming weeks. I'm going to start posting forms and trying to brainstorm like stories and everything that we should do next, just like listener submitted stuff. And let me know what kind of guests you want on. Like obviously those of you that know me in life like know who's in my circle. But yeah, I think I'm going to bring back Peter soon, and then there are a few people that I know would love to get on. And so all right, that's all I got. I love you guys. Hope you have an amazing Wednesday or whenever you're listening to this, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.